starting with our first. Let me tell you right quick about Gretta Gardner. Anybody from Texas in the house? Yeah. I mean, you know, we get hype. You know, I can't really see y'all, so if you raise your hand, that's cool. But I mean, you're supposed to be like, the stars at night shine big and bright. Really? I'm from Louisiana. I'm disappointed in my neighbors right now. Y'all supposed to be like, pump, 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 deep in the heart of Texas. Yeah? Well, we'll get there. In any case, Gretta Gardner, JD, is a family violence director for the Travis County Counseling and Education Services in Austin, Texas, and serves as the chair of the Austin-Travis County Family Violence Task Force. Ms. Gardner's career as a legal advisor for survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault was inspired by her early work in the domestic violence unit of the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office. She has worked for nearly 2 decades to help shape guidelines, policies, and procedures that communities can use to end violence against women. She received her BA in psychology from Vassar College and her JD from the University of Maryland School of Law. She is licensed to practice law in Maryland and Texas and is certified in mediation. Ms. Gardner is also an adjunct professor at the University of Texas School of Law, core faculty for establishing expertise as an expert witness with the Institute on Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault, a steering committee member of the Institute on Domestic Violence in the African American community, and she belongs to a multitude of local, state, and national committees that address violence against women and their children. Presenting for us under the theme of Dreaming of Fearless Futures, Raising Black Boys in America, ladies and gentlemen, Gretta Gardner.
Thank you. Being a mom is hard. Being a mom of 2 boys is exhausting. Being a mom of 2 black boys is an awesome responsibility. I tell my boys all the time, Mommy's here to protect you. But my intellectual self knows I can't protect them from everything because, well, they will fall off bikes, they will get scraped knees, they will have bruised feelings. And try as I might, I cannot protect them from illnesses. I know this far too well. My second son, my youngest, when he was 7 days old, turned blue in my arms and went into respiratory arrest. I tried to give him CPR, but he was 5 pounds, 6 ounces, and I froze. My husband, thank goodness, was able to give him CPR, kept him breathing until the paramedics arrived. When we went to the hospital, we found out days later he had viral meningitis. He had contracted it because he caught a cold at the hospital where he was born, but because he was premature, his lungs weren't able to help him fight it off. The doctor said it was a fluke. There was nothing we could do to prevent it. I knew at that precise moment I would be a fiercely overprotective helicopter mom. I would wrap him in bubble wrap if I could. My fate was sealed, and so was theirs. Pun intended. And then I realized that as I was being this protective mom, that I would try to prevent them from experiencing any pain, that I had forgotten perhaps the most important thing. And this came to me one night as we were sitting at dinner, and my husband was called to be a part of a search and rescue team because a little boy had been lost in our hiking trails in our community, and it was getting dark, and the coyotes would be an imminent threat. My husband immediately got up from the dinner table, ran out, and joined the search party. He came back in 30 seconds. He had forgotten his wallet. And he and I exchanged this painful glance that we knew that if he didn't have his proper ID, he would be assumed to be a pedophile or a kidnapper rather than a trusted and loved member of our community. And it hit me right there that we had done everything. We had given them the best of everything. We had given them a great home, great schools, organic food, organic clothes. We had given them Maslow's hierarchy of psychological needs, the first tier on steroids. But what we had failed to do as parents is that we had failed to come up with a plan about how would we talk to them about racism. How would we talk to them about how racism could endanger our family? How they would be judged sometimes by the color of their skin and not their character. Because, see, we had gone to the best schools, we had gotten the best degrees, we were on the best career paths, we had the right zip code. but we had failed to give them the complexion for the protection. There is a quote in the movie Enough that I just love, and it says, "You have the divine animal right to protect your life and the life of your offspring." But how do you exercise that inalienable right when racism has taught us that you can't always do that? How do we teach young black boys in age-appropriate ways to climb the rungs of Maslow's hierarchy, to reach for safety and security, social needs, self-esteem, and self-actualization? How do we do this when they're already disadvantaged at birth? I was at a conference once when I was pregnant with my first son, and I sat next to this other pregnant woman, and she said, "Oh, what are you having?" And I was so excited. I said, "I'm having a boy." And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I said, "Why would you say that?" And she says, "Well, it's easier to teach a girl how to protect herself than to teach a boy how to walk through this world with his male privilege in check." Well, and I said, "Well, that's terrible." And I've heard other black moms say, "Oh, I'm so glad that I have a girl, because beyond the maleness, they don't want to raise black boys and have to prepare them and have to protect them and chance losing their sons." And I said, "Oh my goodness, as mothers, as women, are we discriminating against boys because it's just easier?" This sentiment is exemplified in a 2010 study where it said that black children are 7 times less likely to be adopted than white children. Girls are preferred over boys. And in another study, it says that light-skinned girls are adopted first, then brown-skinned girls, then light-skinned boys, then dark-skinned boys, if they're adopted at all. Because adoptive parents are afraid of the possible dysfunctional social behavior that black boys can exhibit. And so I'm sitting there scratching my head of like, is this the message? Is this the message that boys are risky and black boys are dangerous? And I was at a crossroad. Do I continue to walk in fear because I know I can't protect them all the time? Do I exemplify that for my children so that they diminish their power? Are they small as they walk through this world? Or do I challenge that message? And I said to myself, I will challenge that message. I will educate. I will advocate. I will celebrate. Because you see, I don't have the luxury of raising my boys in the world as I wish it to be. I have the duty to raise my boys in the world that it is. And the world has shown us it's a dangerous place for our black sons. Sean Bell, Oscar Grant, Trayvon Martin, Eric Gardner, Michael Brown. See, it's my hope one day I can tell my grandsons that this is an Orwellian black experience that will never repeat because we have evolved and we are a much more enlightened society. But we must speak their names, we must tell our history, we must tell their stories because we can't know where we're going if we don't know where we've been. And so as I sit and I think about how we will go forward, I will continue to educate. I will continue to advocate, and I will celebrate, because my duty today is not just to educate my boys. When you get stopped by the police, keep your hands on the wheel, don't wear baggy pants, don't put your hoodies up top, don't stand too close to the woman in the elevator because you might scare her. My duty is to educate everyone I come in contact. Loretta Ross, the social justice activist, said, "You cannot do oppression work without working with oppressors." So every opportunity I have for a teaching moment, I will use on the playgrounds, at birthday parties, at schools, because it is my duty to say that black boys are not public enemy number 1. Oh, they're so articulate. Well, thank you. What were you expecting? Oh, they have good hair. Well, thank you. But what do you mean by good hair? Oh, they're so good at sports. Are you preparing them for the pro leagues? Why, yes, and medical school and law school and anything else that their hearts desires. Because you see, black boys are individual. They are unique. They are not monolithic. They have gifts and talents to give to this world that you will never know if you don't allow yourself to experience them. I will educate. I will advocate. I will be their voice when they have no voice. I will show the world that they have all these things to bear. I will push the boundaries of social change for my boys. And I will celebrate. I will celebrate them at home so they know they are loved. I will celebrate them in public so that others know that they are loved, and that Black love is as much a family value as anyone else, and it is not an anomaly, and it is not fiction. And I will continue to show my boys that I will not walk this world in fear. I will channel my fear. I will educate. I will advocate. I will celebrate my boys so that they know we're all working together, so that they know we are all trying to create this elevated society where my boys know that there is a promise of a fearless future for all boys.